Hello, my lovely anatomists and physiologists. Michele Glass here, and welcome to the first of our Chapter 5 videos. And maybe more exciting, we are finally into body systems. So let us get started. All right, as we go through each body system, we're going to revisit the physiology or function of that particular system and talk about the different structures that make up that system, and then, dig a little deeper, putting that information together. So to begin, when we first introduced the idea of the integumentary system in Chapter 1, we said the main job of the integumentary system is protection. And we can keep that in our thinking, right? But we do want to make sure we're digging a little deeper. So when we talk about protection here, we're going to see it's protecting from invasion of pathogens, is protection from chemicals getting access to the body, is protecting against abrasion of our softer tissues underneath, is protecting by preventing dehydration. It's also acting, we're going to see, it's like our first line of defense, going back to this idea of protecting against invasion of pathogens. We can also pick up on a couple of other little aspects. So we're going to also add to this list here sensory, which we'll talk more about in the future. We can add to this list thermo regulation. Think both about keeping your body warm, but preventing your body from overheating. And we'll talk more about that one later as well. And then the last one to just mention here super quickly is vitamin D3 synthesis. And again, we'll talk more about that process in the future. The next thing for us to think about then is, okay, what are the structures that make up the integumentary system? And here we're going to label the cutaneous membrane. Cutaneous membrane is the name for our skin. And the term cutaneous is talking about like relatively dry and water resistant. We're going to see hair as an important integumentary system structure. We're going to see the nail as an important integumentary system structure. And then we're going to see sweat glands and sebaceous glands as other important structures in this system. So we'll have videos for each of these. The cutaneous membrane is one of the biggest organs of the body, and of course, one of the big organs in the integumentary system. And so we're going to spend most of our time talking about that. But what I want us to look at here, sorry about that. What I want us to look at here is this idea of our skin as like a big box. And there's 3 major layers to each box. So the very top outermost layer of the cutaneous membrane of the skin is called the epidermis. And this is our outermost layer. This is our protective layer. This is our stratified, squamous, epithelial layer. And we're going to go into more detail. We're going to make its own video. The next layer that we have is the dermis. Change color, that doesn't show up very nice. So when we look at the cutaneous membrane, it will consist of the epidermis and the dermis exclusively. And then dermis then is going to be the inner layer. Its job is to support the epidermis, and it's made of connective tissue. And we'll talk more about this in its own video. But you see that I've made this box with three zones. And so the bottom zone we can call the hypodermis, as in below the dermis. But what we can also do is call this our subcutaneous layer, where subcutaneous literally translates to below cutaneous membrane. And the hypodermis layer is going to be a storage of adipose tissue. And it's going to have several important jobs for the body. It's an important layer of tissue. Technically, it's not the skin, and it's not hair, and it's not nails, and it's not glands. And so it doesn't actually belong to the integumentary system, but it is important for our body, and we do want to talk about it. So we do talk about it in this body system. Okay, so stay tuned for a video all about that top layer, the epidermis, and as always, take care of yourselves and each other.